Hello, and welcome to our integration demo with Hi Rasmus and Aloha ABA. I'm Amy Cook, BCBA and Community Manager from Hi Rasmus, and I'm so excited to share how you can optimize your ABA organization with this seamless integration. We will start with some brief introductions from our fabulous speakers today. Tina, can you share a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Hey guys, my name is Tina. I actually started out in the ABA industry as an RBT at a local ABA company. I love that position. That's where I fell in love with the industry of ABA. And because of that, I wanted to work for a company that had that same values as the industry that I was seeing, which is what brought me here to Aloha. I started off at Aloha as a customer success manager where I was super involved into day-to-day setup and the journey of Aloha for our current customers. And then I transitioned into my current role, which is the account executive role. And now I get to help potential customers see if we're a good practice management fit for them. I'm super thankful that I'm familiar with the ABA industry from a clinical standpoint. And then, of course, coming to Aloha, I saw all the behind the scenes stuff, the billing, all of the operations, the scheduling stuff. So I like that I have both viewpoints, and it's really helpful when I do talk to those potential customers. So that's a little bit about me and my role. Val, do you want to introduce yourself as well from the Hi Rasmus side?
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Tina. So I'm Valeria. I'm a BCBA, and I've been working with Hi Rasmus as a customer success and now as a customer support specialist. So my role here is to show our BCBAs and RBTs and clinical directors our platform, and also as they come on board, helping them using the system and making the most of it, right? So now with the integration with Aloha, we have both systems working together to help you and your clinic. So that's a little bit about me and my role in Hi Rasmus.
Awesome. Thank you both. Before we get started with the demo, I do want to share a little bit more about our story. Hi Rasmus is an ABA clinical software company that was inspired by our founder's son, Rasmus, who was diagnosed with autism early on in his life. Our goal is to help deliver the highest quality behavioral therapy services to 1 million children with autism by helping the people who help them: behavior analysts, techs, teachers, parents, clinical directors, and all of you. We provide the best clinical platform so you can keep the focus on the child in front of you. I'm going to hand it over to Tina to share a little bit about Aloha ABA.
Absolutely. So Aloha really does focus in on product and service. We have a huge emphasis on customer support. We really feel like that's essential when you're starting a relationship with the practice management software. Our owners have been in the industry for over 25 years, and we have a uniform goal to make sure that we can help simplify your workflow for you, for your staff members, clinical team, operationals team, admin team, so that you can focus on what's the most important, which is providing that quality ABA therapy and autism services. So we're helping you support you in doing just that, simplifying your practice, supporting you along the way.
Love it, Tina. Thanks. I want to share how our partnership started. Our customers were looking for a practice management solution that was simple to use with Hi Rasmus and at a fair price point. We wanted to spend all of our energy on the clinical teams and supporting them in improving outcomes for kiddos. So when we found Aloha ABA, the match was obvious, a winning solution for our customers to have the best of both worlds with clinical and operational sides. Aloha ABA and Hi Rasmus continue to meet on a weekly basis and are committed to making sure our customers receive the very best support. We're now going to start our integration demo, and we will have time for questions at the end. I'd like to share that we will only be highlighting the integration portion. Both Hi Rasmus and Aloha ABA have comprehensive platforms that we're happy to connect with you in the future if you want to learn more. Tina, can you please start us off?
Absolutely. I'm so excited to start you guys off on the Aloha side. I'm going to get my screen shared. While I'm getting my screen shared, I do want to mention I see some existing Aloha customers on our participant list. Always feel free to ask questions in the chat or the Q&A like Amy mentioned if something is unfamiliar to you, regardless of which side you're coming from. We want to make sure you have a spot to answer and get your questions asked. Okay, so first I am jumping into Aloha. What we're going to do is we're going to start here on your dashboard, and we're going to build out a client profile together. We're also going to be adding an appointment in our schedule on the Aloha side. Then we're going to hop on over to Hi Rasmus. We're going to take some data. We're going to create our session note in Hi Rasmus as if we were a BT, and then we're going to come back to Aloha and we're going to bill everything out. So let's get started. I am starting out here on our dashboard. Our dashboard is basically a bunch of different widgets that give you a really good overview of your system. So this is the first thing that you would see when you would log into your Aloha site. I'm going to point out a couple of these widgets to you that people really like to zone in and focus in on when they are starting to log in. First being your expiring qualifications widget, which is showing you any staff qualifications coming up on expiration in the next 30 days. You can toggle to 60 days and 90 days as well. This is a clickable widget, so inside will take you to a report to give you more information about those expiring qualifications. We also have an expiring authorizations widget, which is showing you any auths coming up on expiration in the next 30, 60, and 90 days. Again, clickable, takes you into a report on the inside. If you are doing billing in the system, your unbilled appointments widget is really great in helping you make sure that no appointments that are billable that have been rendered are slipping through the cracks and haven't been billed. So any appointments that have gone unbilled in the last 30, 60, 90 days here as well. Aging report is another really great billing widget. This is showing you your amount outstanding versus your amount billed from month to month. And when you start to get payments back into the system, your amount outstanding will start to shrink. Billing summary is showing you amount billed from month to month. So really good billing widgets here to give you billing at a glance. Canceled appointment summary is a great widget for keeping track of any cancellations in your system. So you would build out and customize in your site whatever cancellations you would like to see and track here. And this is tracking them based on those types and how often they're occurring. Your bottom three widgets, they start with the word my, so they're indicating the user that is logged in's information. So if you end up having RBTs or techs logging in, the most common permission for them is to see these my widgets when they first log in. Now, everything is customizable in your site, so you can really zone in who do you want to see certain widgets, not see certain widgets, as well as anything throughout your system. So this is your dashboard. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to jump into building out a client with you. Now, keep in mind, we have built out a payer on the back end, which is all of your fee schedule information. And we also built out a staff on the back end. So the first thing when I'm building out a client is I'm going to put in their basic information. We're going to use Charlie Brown here as our example. Going to put in things like street addresses, any phone numbers, just to give me a good basic profile. I can also always choose a photo if I would like to add to my client's profile as well. Once I have put in all of my basic information for my client, it's going to bring me into Charlie's profile. Now, this is Charlie's blank profile. I'll kind of walk through what it looks like here, and then we'll build out his authorization together. So we have all the basic information for Charlie first here. And if I need to go back and edit, you can edit it in. Custom fields is going to be a way to customize your site and track things that you would like to track in your client level in this example. Anything that you're seeing here are things we put into this demo site as examples, but yours might be completely different. So we want to make sure you can customize it, put in what you need to track. Contacts would be a great area to add any client contacts in relation to this kiddo, whether that's family or guardians, school teachers, speech teachers, OT, nannies, whoever it is you need to add in as a contact. You can give that person client portal access if you need to. If you are giving them client portal access, that would allow them to log into the Aloha site, view their child's schedule, sign off on that child's appointments. They can also pay any outstanding balances towards that client's responsibility. So maybe co-pays, deductibles, things of that nature. We use a Stripe integration to be able to allow for credit card payments. You can also assign any staff to that child's caseload. Good way to build out HIPAA compliance here, assign them a staff. You can set their permissions to say, hey, they can only view clients they're assigned to. All right, we're going to be focusing in on building out an authorization together next. So in my authorization, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the payer that I'm using. Now, keep in mind, again, I built out this payer, Aetna is my example, on the back end with all of Aetna's fee schedule, billing codes, modifiers, charge rate, contracted rates, all of that billing information. So I'm first adding an Aetna as my payer, and I'm going to build out my policy information first. Once I have my policy information in, then I can actually build out the authorization itself. So when we're building out an authorization, I'm going to first put my auth number at the very top if I have one, and I'll add in my date range. Once I have my date range in, I can then pull in those service names. So these service names are going to get pulled from the payer of Aetna that I built out on the back end. So when I'm selecting assessment here, that's bringing all of Aetna's assessment information in with it. So any billing codes, modifiers, charge rate, contract rates, etc. That's pulling in that billing information for Aetna. Then I'm going to go ahead and set my allowed limits. In my example, I'm putting in my allowed limit is units per authorization. But keep in mind, if your authorization is written a little bit differently, we do have a drop down that you can change it up depending on how you need it written. So maybe it's in minutes a day, hours a week, hours an auth, whatever the case is there. The next three sections I'm building out are rendering provider, place of service, and service facility. These are defaults that I can set here at the authorization level to save me some time and some clicks, so I don't have to select these things every single time I schedule for Charlie for these authorized services. So if I choose to default, I can default them here, but if these things do change, I can always change them at the appointment level. I can also change them at the billing level as needed, and I'll show you what that looks like at those levels as well. So this is what assessment is going to look like when I add into my auth. I'm going to add in one more service with you guys. I'm going to add in a direct service appointment or authorization. And as you can see, it copied over my dates, it copied over my defaults. If I needed to change the defaults, I absolutely can. Okay, now we have our authorization put in for Charlie Brown. What we're going to jump into next is actually looking at our schedule. So I'm going to jump to my scheduling icon on my ribbon. And I am looking at my own schedule, sample schedule here today in Aloha. Before I actually add in my appointment for Charlie, I want to walk you guys through what you're looking at in terms of these appointments. So over on your left-hand side of all of your appointments, you're going to notice there's a series of icons, and these icons are letting me know the type of appointment that it is. So anything that is billable in my schedule will always have this icon right here, clipboard with some text in it. Anything that is non-billable, so your trainings, your onboardings, your report writings, your meetings are going to be a blank clipboard like this. If you need to record break time or lunches for staff members, it's going to be a coffee cup icon. And then if you need to record drive time, mileage, or a combination of the two, it's going to be a car icon like this. Over to the right-hand side of your appointments, you can notice that there's these little status bubbles, and these status bubbles are letting us know if the appointment has been completed or not completed in Aloha. So completed in Aloha is letting us know it has been rendered. We're ready to bill if it's billable. We're ready to send it to payroll if it's payable. Completed appointments have a filled-in circle like this. Not yet completed appointments are an open circle like this. Now, I do notice that we have one other type of status bubble here, which is our half filled-in circle. This is only going to be used if you have a group appointment. So this is a group billable appointment in my example. You can also have group non-billable appointments. If you have a half filled in circle for those group appointments, that lets me know some have completed this appointment, some have not. If I single click on anything that is billable in my schedule, I can show myself my utilization, which is my auth summary. In my example here, Linus for direct service has 1,600 units per authorization. Here's his date range. Of those 1,600 total units per auth, how many of those units are scheduled versus not? Of those that are scheduled, how many are completed versus not? So really easy to see utilization right there on your schedule. Okay, let's actually create an appointment for Charlie Brown over on the Aloha side. If I'm trying to create an appointment, I can either double click where I want the appointment to be created, or I can click on that blue plus sign. Both are going to take me to the same spot. If I'm adding a billable appointment, I'll add in my staff. I'll select my client. Once my client has been selected, all of their authorized services will populate. So I'm scheduling based on that service name, and all that billing and auth information pulls in with it. So I have a staff, I have a client, I have a service. I can put in my date, my start, and my end time. I can just save it now if I need to, or I can choose to repeat it if it's a repetitive appointment. Your repeat tool here looks super similar to like a typical Google Calendar repeat tool. The only added feature here is we have an auth end date button. So let's say I wanted to schedule every Thursday and end it on the authorization. I can just select this button and it memorizes the auth end date for me. So super helpful there. I'm not going to choose to repeat this one today, but what I'll do is I'll go ahead and save this appointment, and then I'm going to pop it on over to Valeria so she can hop in from the Hi Rasmus side.
Awesome, thank you, Tina. So now I am going to share my screen with you and show you guys what looks like on the Hi Rasmus side. So the appointment that Tina just created is now showing here on my client's homepage. So in Hi Rasmus, you will see your name here on the left side. And here where you see Charlie Brown, there will be a drop-down menu so you can see all your clients here. Since we're working with Charlie, I already have him selected. And Charlie is already linked to Aloha. So you can add your clients in Aloha. You have the option to import them into Hi Rasmus. Now, when you import your clients into Hi Rasmus on their homepage, you're going to have the programs here, and then you can have them divided into domains. You can create treatment areas, and you're going to have your session created here on the top. So here I can see the day of the week, the day of the month, the start and finish time for my appointment, and who is supposed to run this appointment. If I have other appointments for the same client, there will be a little arrow here so I can see future appointments for this client as well. Now, once I'm ready, I'm going to log in, find my client, and I'm going to click on Start Session. I will be taken to this preparation page. And here you will see that I have a little note saying that this appointment is scheduled for 11 a.m. Right now, I am in Central Time, so it's for me 11:18. So it's just letting me know that I am a little bit off on the start time here. This is not going to prevent me from starting my session. And at the end, I'll show you how you can make adjustments to your session time. On this preparation page, you can write a message to your therapist. So anything that's a reminder. In this case, I have, remember to ask parents about medication, but you can also have something like, remember to have fun. Don't forget to get the reinforcers bin, or anything that's relevant to your client. While you are on this preparation page, you can click on each of the programs and you can read the instructions. If there's any pictures or any PDFs attached, you can check those here as well. When you're creating programs in Hi Rasmus, you have the option to add a video. So this video could be just like an instructional video explaining how to run the programs. It could be a model, and you can also write down the instructions along with the videos. When you click on targets, you can see which targets are opened, if any targets have been mastered. And if you need to gather any materials, you will know exactly what you need. When I click in history, I can see previous sessions, so I can see data that was taken. If I find anything here, so I can see sessions that were done, but there's no data recorded. So maybe I can ask my therapist, is everything okay? Or do you have any questions about this program? Because I don't see any data here. And every time you make a change on a program, you can record a protocol modification note. So in this case, I have updated instructions to reflect new SD. Everything that you write down will be available here under the program itself. Now, when you're done reviewing your programs and you're ready to start your session, you're going to scroll down and click on Start Session again. Your session timer starts automatically, and here it's here on the left side. On the top of your session, you can pin programs for quick and easy access. So if you have any frequency program, any behaviors, duration, you can put them here on the top. To collect data, all you need to do is click. So here I have my frequency. I'm simply clicking on my targets, and you see my numbers going up. On my receptive ID, I have another different way of collecting data. So in Hi Rasmus, you can create different prompt level templates to adjust the data collection to your needs. So here I have my receptive ID of colors, and I have also shapes. I can also have different types of targets within the same program. So here I'm going to change my view really quick. Instead of looking at all targets at the same time, I want to look at one program at a time. So by changing the view, now I'm focusing on this program only, which is my routine with arriving at the center. So here I have a duration program. I'm simply going to click on my target and my timer starts, and I can then collect data on the other targets as my timer is running. I here have an example of a backwards chain, so you can see what my initial targets are. However, since they are in waiting, I cannot collect data on them. I will be able to collect data on the targets that are either in acquisition or mastered. And then once I'm done, I'm going to stop my timer. Navigating between programs when you have this one program view is pretty simple. We have our arrows here on the bottom, and I can go back and forth. And I can also open my little tab and just select what program I want to run. Now, once you're done collecting your data, you're ready to go. Two options that you have that I forgot to mention is you can write your session program notes here. So anything that is relevant to the program. So for example, mending with sign language, maybe I can say today, learner wanted to wear a glove. So this is something new. He hasn't done that before. And I thought I should mention this to my BCBA. So I can write those little notes here. I can take a picture or I can record a video while I'm running my session. And if I have any questions about a program, I can click on these instructions and I can read my instructions. Again, I can check my targets. I can check the history. So all that I do on that preparation page, I have access to this here as well. And I can also start writing my session notes. So let's say right now, my client is having a snack. I'm waiting here with him and I'm just gonna click on edit session notes. And I'm gonna start filling this out. This is a template that we created for our demo. And in Hi Rasmus, you have the option to create your own session note template. So I'm gonna start doing my session summary here. And now my client is finished with his snack. I'm going to minimize this and I will go back and I will keep collecting my data. So I can access my session note at any moment throughout my session. Once I'm done with my session, I'm going to click on Finish Session. And that session notes that I started writing, it's going to pop up exactly where I left off. I'm just going to finish my notes here. And you can have on your template fields that you're going to select from. You can have fields that you're going to type in here. You can make fields that are required. You can have the data being pulled from your session into your session note. And here's where you can make that time adjustment. So when I started my session, I had that little orange flag saying the session was scheduled for 11 a.m. So I can come here and I can make that adjustment. And you see here that I have a little triangle saying that my end time is more than 60 minutes off because my session is scheduled to finish at 1 p.m. So we're going to do 1 p.m. here as my end time. Here I have my summary. I have all the information, the data that I collected on this day. And on the bottom, I'm going to sign and save. All my data is saved here. And you see that I have now a different orange flag saying that all the session notes need to be completed and signed. What this means is on this template, I have a pending signature. So when you're creating your session note template in Hi Rasmus, you have the option to add a requirement. So you can have a parent signature required, and you can also have a supervisor signature required. So right now, I'm just going to pretend that I am Mama Brown, and I'm going to sign it for mom. So you have the therapist signature, you have the parent signature. And right below the signature, you have a summary of your session. So while you're doing your data analysis in Hi Rasmus, you can use this page to help you, as well as our progress page, which shows you all the graphs. So now that I have all the signatures collected, you see that my note here is not orange anymore, but it's blue. So this is telling me that I have all the requirements that I need, and I can click on Send Now. So now this session notes that I just wrote that is linked to an appointment has been sent to Aloha. So what I'm going to do right now is stop sharing so Tina can show you what happens now on the Aloha side.
Wonderful. Okay, let me get my screen reshared. There is a few things that have happened to that appointment that was linked over to Hi Rasmus. So we're looking back on this appointment from the outside. I'm noticing a couple of things. First off, my completed bubble has been filled in. And then next, I'm noticing a little symbol here, a little green checkbox with some lightning behind it. This is letting me know from the outside that there is a session note attached to this appointment. So from the very outside, I can see, okay, it's been completed, which means, hey, we've been rendered. We're ready to bill it, ready to go to payroll. And I have a session note attached. Now, if I'm jumping inside of that appointment, a couple of things are happening on the inside as well. The first thing that is going to happen is within this verification tab. I'm noticing that signatures that were collected over on Hi Rasmus's side have pushed into Aloha as well. So staff signature shows up over here from the session note, and then client signature shows up over here from the session note as well. This start and this end time. Now, Val did mention that she said it was from 11 to 1. So no times had been changed in that session note example. But if something did change on the Hi Rasmus side, maybe someone showed up late, someone left early, someone extended their session for whatever reason, we do have time syncing. So if Val did change anything on Hi Rasmus's side, it would push into Aloha and update the times in Aloha side. So that way, in case you get audited, anytime that you had billed something, it would always reflect the correct session note time as well. So session notes as well as your build time in Aloha will always match. This completed box did check for us as well. So that was an autocomplete setting. It checked when everything was done on the Hi Rasmus side. And then the last thing that happened is within the session notes tab. Inside the session notes tab, I have a direct link. And if I click on that link, it opens up Hi Rasmus for me, and it'll have my session note in relation to this appointment. Let's see. Here we go. So we have all of that session note information that is in direct relation to that appointment there. Really cool. So all of that is happening automatically whenever anything is completed over on the Hi Rasmus side, pushes it on over to Aloha so we know we're ready to bill. So RBT or tech, they are done. Next, we're going to kind of be walking through what it looks like to bill in the Aloha system. So we're going to pretend we're our billers, we're going to put on our billing hats and start to walk through the billing side of things. There is a couple of things I want to mention here at the appointment level. First being your billing tab itself. This is everything that was set up prior to scheduling and completing your Aloha appointment. So you can see your defaults are listed over here. And if those defaults did change, it is a super easy change based on permissions here at the billing side. And then everything else is getting collected based on appointment info and payer information. You can also track RBT supervision in the supervision tab if you need to. All right, so now we're going to put on those billing hats and we're going to walk through the billing process on the Aloha side. The very first thing that I will do as a biller is I will come into my billing manager screen. Billing manager screen is where you're going to scrub your information and submit your claims. So the first thing that I will do is I'll select the payer that I want to bill and the date range that I want to bill for. When I hit generate, all of my unbilled appointments are going to populate for me here. The first thing that I want to point out are these colored checkboxes on the left. All of mine are green in this example, but this is my Aloha initial scrub. So Aloha does do a scrub for you. And if anything was missing in that setup process, it will show up as an orange checkbox. Let me show you an example of what that looks like. Let's say that I forgot to default my rendering provider at my authorization level, or I didn't select it at my scheduling level. If that's the case, Aloha will give you an orange checkbox in that initial scrub to let you know, hey, we need to go in and fix something because we can't bill it out unless we have these essential components. So when I hover over my orange checkbox, it lets me know what's missing. In my example here, we saw it was a rendering provider. And I can make that change over on the rendering provider column of my billing manager screen because that was the only thing that's missing. Awesome, we're back to a green checkbox. Again, this is your scrubbing screen. So this is where you're going to be looking over everything, making sure it looks good before you're actually processing it out. Anything in blue text here is something that can be changed or adjusted at this level. Let me scroll over so you can kind of get a feel of what it is you'd be scrubbing and what's getting gathered at this level. So again, once you set up your auth, once you set up your payer, once you've set up scheduling and you've completed your appointments, everything should be pulling over here based on that information. Let's say that you wanted to update multiple lines here. Maybe kiddo did services in school and you need to change the place of service. You can also always bulk update multiple lines at this level by just selecting that bulk update button, selecting whatever field you're wanting to update, and then selecting the value to update it to. So super easy. All right, let's say I feel really good about this scrubbing portion and I'm ready to bill out. If that is the case, I'll select the appointments I want to bill and I'll click on the process billing button. Clicking on process billing is going to gather these claims into our claim forms and send it to your clearinghouses. So we integrate with 2 clearinghouses, Availity and Office Ally. So depending on what your payers are and which clearinghouses you're choosing, Basically, we take these claims, send it to the clearinghouse submits it to your payer portals for you. That is what happens when you're clicking on process billing. Now, once your claims have been submitted, they are then going to be sitting in the AR manager section of Aloha. So once the appointments have been billed, this is where they are showing when we're waiting on payment. So this is managing your claims. To give you an overview of this screen, we have our payers listed on the very left-hand side. We have our amounts or our balances listed on the very right-hand side. And then these full outstanding balances for each of your payers are broken into aging buckets in the center. And these aging buckets let you know how long it's been since you billed that balance. Current, you billed it in less than 30 days. Typically, you don't have to worry too much about this column because payers can take some time. But when it starts to creep into that 30 to 60 days since billed, 60 to 90 days since billed, that's a great indication to say, oh, probably need to call and check on these claims. So what you can do is you can double click into any of these balances. I'm going to do that with you. Inside of that balance, it'll show you the claims that make up that balance. Let's say that I need to call and check on one of these claims. I can click on the clock tool next to the claim itself. In that clock tool, it's going to give me all of my claim information up top. This is going to be super handy if I'm on the phone with the payer and I need to read off certain indicators to locate that claim. Then at the very bottom, there's going to be a transaction log that is following me around the Aloha system. It's going to let me know automatically when did I bill that claim. It's going to let me know if I post any payments towards that claim. It's also a really great spot for you to add yourself manual notes. So if you need to add yourself a note when you call and check on a claim, you can say, okay, I called, this is who I spoke to, this is what they said, this is the reference number, whatever information you need to add to that claim log. So this is what a manual note might look like here. That way, every time you look back on the claim, you see all of your notes, your own notes, your automated notes, so you know exactly what's happening. Then double clicking inside of the claim takes you to the charge lines that make up that claim. So very easy in navigating throughout your AR manager. Once you get paid, that is where your payment center comes in. So that's where we're jumping to next. All of your ERAs come here into the payment center when you're using a clearinghouse. So when you have a new ERA, it'll show up here in the payment center. You can click inside that ERA, you view the ERA itself, and then there's a blue auto post button at the very bottom of your screen. Clicking on auto post is basically telling us if we can match up what was paid to what was billed, we're able to auto post that for you line by line of the ERA. It also does take any client responsibility, co-pays, co-insurance, deductibles, and transfer it to that client balance for you as well. We auto post about 85% of ERAs. Anything else you will manually match up and it will tell you, it'll say, hey, one line needs manual matching. You can go in and manually match the line if needed. There might be other sorts of payments coming into the system as well. Maybe you have other payers, school district payers, regional center payers, private pay. We do have a way to generate invoices and verification forms for those regional centers here. Once they pay you, you can come in and manually post any payments and match it up to those outstanding balances. You can also see any Stripe payments showed up here as well. Maybe your kiddo paid their copay in their Aloha client portal. So really great in calculating any sort of payments coming in from anything billable. Also keep in mind that we do have a ton of reports on this information specifically, so billing and payment reports, but also on anything throughout your site. So staff information, client information, appointment information, RBT supervision logs, auth information, and all of these reports can be viewed in Aloha. They can also be exported to Excel at any point as well. So really great info here if you ever need to pull any of the information out, or if you need to pull the information and see everything in one spot. Okay, so that was the demonstration between Aloha and Hi Rasmus. I'm going to pass it back to Amy to close this out.
Awesome. Thanks, Tina. I've got a special offer that I want to share. So just give me a second to share my screen. Okay. So I have, when you sign up for both Hi Rasmus and Aloha ABA, you will receive a free upgrade to premium on Hi Rasmus for a year. Premium includes pre-made programs available in your content library, live supervision, telehealth features, and more. And please stay on this webinar for questions at the end. If you want to learn more, you can check out our websites and book a demo to see how each platform can help you. Let's stay connected and feel free to email me directly also. So thank you so much for your time. We will end the recording here, and we are going to stay on to answer additional questions.